All right. Hello, lovely people. A very good evening to all of you. I hope everybody is doing fine. We are here with yet another episode of Bidbul Ki Pathshala. As you can make it out from the title, our today's session is going to be all about law, the various law entrances that one can take after having completed their 12th standard. So we'll be discussing about all of these courses, and we'll be discussing in depth about the strategies, about how you can prepare for all of these exams with an expert, with somebody who has gone through the entire journey, who has made the entire journey and made it to NLU Nagpur. So before I invite him over, let's have a quick review about the various upcoming entrance tests that are going to take place in the next 1 to 2 months. So first of all, and the most important one that I would want to talk to you about is the new course that has been launched by Maharashtra National Law University, Nagpur itself. I talked about in the previous session as well. They have recently come up with a new course that is BA LLB with honors in adjudication and justicing. So it's a new course that they have launched, and you can apply to this course through your CLAT scores, through your CLAT 23 scores. The last date for you to register for this is today. So in case you've forgotten, you have not yet done it, please make sure that you do it today, EOD, by the end of the day, right? That is basically a 5-year course, and it has around 60 seats. So if you have not yet, received your desired college, this is somewhere that you can definitely apply for. Apart from that, let's talk about the other entrances. Of course, we have IPL, Integrated Program in Law, by IIM Rohtak. So it has recently been introduced and has been taking place 2-3 times only as of now. So how do you apply for this particular exam? You will have to appear for the IP-MATIC exam, that is Integrated Program in Management Admission Test, which is conducted by Rohtak. And through that, you'll get admission to this program, that is IPL. So the exam pattern is pretty much the same as to what you'll be appearing for the IP-MAT exam itself, that is court, reasoning, and English. And apart from that, you'll have an additional session of legal reasoning. So if there's somebody who wants to appear for the IPL or apply for the course for the IPL, you have to appear for the legal section extra, right? So you can appear for that as well. If I talk about the dates for the same, the last date for you to apply through your CLAT score. So basically, the way that you can get an admission into it is through your CLAT score or through the IP-MAT exam as well. So if you have appeared for the CLAT 23 exam and you've secured a decent score, then you can register yourself for this particular course. And the last date for you will be 20th of April. And if you've not yet appeared for the CLAT exam, but you want to get into this course, you want to enroll yourself for the course, you can do it through the IP-MAT exam as well. And the last date for you to register for the same would be 10th of April. The exam, however, will be conducted on 20th of May. So that is the first thing. Second exam that we have, of course, is SLAT, which is for Symbiosis Law Program. So as we all know, Symbiosis has its 4 campuses, which is in Pune, Noida, Hyderabad, and Nagpur. So you can appear for that as well. Symbiosis is quite a renowned institute, and you can pursue your law career. You can begin your law career from there as well. So if we talk about the deadlines for the same, the registration for the same closes on 12th of April. So if you wish to register, please do it before 12th April. And the exam will be conducted in 2 slots. One will be conducted on 6th of May, and the second will be conducted on 14th of May. That was about the SLAT exam. Now, the last but not the least is the PU-UILS. So if you're somebody residing in Chandigarh, somewhere around it, or you want to pursue a 5-year integrated course with Punjab University, then you can go ahead and fill in this form as well. So PU-UILS has 4 campuses. It has it in Chandigarh, Hoshiarpur, and Ludhiana. So these are the campuses that you can apply for. Okay, now talking about the registration, it's a little complex. So the last date for you to fill in the registration form is 10th of April. The last day for you to submit the fee is 14th of April. And the last day for you to complete filling the registration form is going to be 17th of April. So you still have 1-2 weeks left with you so that you can complete the entire thing. So these are some of the upcoming exams that you can appear for. if you wish to start your legal career after 12th class. So if you have any other questions pertaining to everything that I have just said about the different entrances that I have spoken about, please feel free to put it in the comment section and I will definitely get back to you within the duration of this session or maybe even later. Now is the time that I invite the guest on board, the guest whom I've been talking about in the initial part of the session, Ansh, who made his way to NLU Nagpur qualifying for his CLAT exam. So, hi Ansh, how are you doing?
Hi ma'am, good evening. I'm doing good ma'am.
Okay, so Ansh, let's begin. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking out time to be with us for the session today. Yeah, so let's begin with your introduction. Why don't you tell our audiences something about yourself?
So my name is basically I'm Ansh Raheja. I come from a farmer's family. I come from a small town. It's Barwala in Haryana. So that's it. I just joined this university like an year ago.
Okay.
Everything's good so far, so good.
Okay, okay. So you're from Haryana, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your family background.
So my family background, as I have already told you, that I come from a farmer's family. My
Uh-huh.
mother is a government employee. My
Mm-hmm.
dad's a landlord, and
Okay,
I'm a single child.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, great, great. So, where did you have your schooling from?
So I come from Barwala, but like most of my life, I have resided in Hisar district of Haryana. So there's this
Okay.
school called OP Jindals. You might have heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
I completed my schooling from OP Jindal Modern School.
Okay, right, right. And what stream did you have in your 11th and 12th
I
class?
opted for humanities in my 12th.
Okay, all right, humanities. Great, great. Okay, so what was the goal in school, Ansh, when you were in your school, let's say in your 11th and 12th class, what goal did you have for, to
So the
pursue your
thing,
graduation or further studies?
yeah, like when I was in class seventh, I guess. So till that, I wanted always to become a doctor. So,
Okay.
but there was this time in class 8th when I went to a court for the first time for some
Mm-hmm.
legal paperwork for like getting my name changed in some of the documents. So
Okay.
the black and white attire of the advocates, really fascinated me that moment. So
Okay.
that moment only I thought of, being a lawyer.
So you made it out from the attire of the lawyer. Yeah.
That just fascinated me in the prima facie like per se. You-
Okay.
that I find it very attractive, and the lawyer's mind, but you never know what's going inside it. So
Absolutely. So before that, you never thought of pursuing law, not even like a glimpse of a chance of it.
not at all. Before I went to a court for the first time in class 8, basically.
Okay.
After I went there, definitely I gave it a thought, and then
Mhm.
I tried to get the scope of it, like what are the limitation of its scope, and but when I get to like really know it, it's a very vast area.
Of course, it definitely is, right? So if you don't minding, share with our audience what was your score in the board exams in your 12th class?
So my score in 12th class was something around 92.8 or 6 percentile.
Mm-hmm. That's quite
In class,
impressive.
in matriculation exam also that was a merit like 92.6% I guess.
Nice,
Almost same.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And what all subjects did you have in humanities?
In humanities I had political science, English,
Mhm.
history, and then we had fine arts, and then we had economics, and I also opted for maths. So it was
Okay,
humanities with maths.
okay, all right. So that was about your 12th class. So after 12th, what all entrances did you appear for? Apart from CLAT, obviously.
So yeah, definitely one that is CLAT, of course, and then SLAT, LSAT, AILET, AILET, and MHCT basically.
Okay, okay,
That is
right.
the math.
Right. So, which year did you appear for the CLAT exam? 22?
No, I appeared in 21 years.
21 you appeared for it. Okay. So at that time, what used to happen is, your boards and the CLAT exam used to a little bit collide, or maybe they were just right next to each other. So now it has changed. Now it takes place a year earlier, right? So I want to know, how did you strike a balance between the preparation of your entrances and your preparation for the, your boards?
About the CLAT and being like managing a balance between your studies and your CLAT prep is not a really tough task, I must say. For it's just a little bit, you just need to crack the code and you are all set for the goal. So what I used to do was that I just used to give at least 2 to 3 hours. Like I won't say more than that. At least 2 to 3 hours to my CLAT preparations.
Mm-hmm.
That is especially GK. Like I would never leave GK even of one day. Like this has already happened to me that if you get a backlog of GK, you might not be able to recover it. So
Mm-hmm.
I never left GK behind, and also at side by side I used to do question solving sheets of like anything like legal reasoning, English, and other things. So and that for boards, I guess I don't think it's very difficult to get into it, like to score good in it. Because boards as a level in CBSE is very easy for me,
Right, right.
and not for me, even most of the students. So I think that giving 2 hours a day for your boards and then 3 hours a day to your CLAT would be sufficient for a good preparation.
Right, right. So, when you thought of going ahead and pursuing law, was it always your aim to get into an NLU, a National Law University, or did you like also keep other options, or was it like your target was just NLUs?
Well, I definitely keep other options as well in my mind. Like not in just my mind, I filled for them basically.
Mm-hmm.
But my foremost aim for like to get into was like to be in a government college basically. The tag of NLU helps you a lot in building a great successful career ahead in your life that you are looking for basically. So
Right.
the tag and the tag of NLU has something really to do with your career. So my foremost aim was to get into an NLU.
Right. Because I always like, whenever I have a query also from a student, let's say if they're wanting to pursue management or they want to pursue law. So always tell them that there are two type of people who want to pursue any degree. First is they're doing it just for the sake of getting a degree, just because they wanted thappa ki हाँ जी हमने MBA करा है या हमने law किया है. Or there's a second section of people who want to do it from a very reputed institute, and that is the only institute that they're aiming for, right? They don't go XYZ, they're just strictly focusing on that. That is why I asked you this question, that which category do you belong to?
Definitely, I belong to the category which has some aim, and
Right.
I don't think like here in NLU, everyone has come after like taking a text that is called CLAT. So
Mm-hmm.
most of them has some sort of potential,
Right.
right? So I personally feel one or another, every guy or every girl might have some talent that she'll like get to know about it in the course of the in the time.
Later,
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and opportunities, we definitely have a lot of opportunities in different fields over here in NLU. So yeah, I personally feel one should get into NLU.
Of course. I mean, the institute that you choose, whether at a graduation level or at a master's level, is very, very important, because your the people around you, it matters a lot. The kind of exposure that you get from a good institute is vast, right? And also in certain top institutes, you also get internships. You also get, so we get to a part of workshops or programs like that give you very professional experience about certain things that you might not get from an XYZ institute. So that is why, and of course, then there are placements. Most definitely, placements are important. Where are you working? Which company are you associated with? And I quite frankly feel, let's say, 5, 7 years from now, lawyers were thought to be just the lawyers who go to the courtroom, study a case, work on a case, work in the courtroom and come back. But with the advent of time, the tag lawyer or an advocate has changed a lot. It is not just the conventional jolly LLB type of lawyer that you can be. There are a lot of
Definitely.
other things that you can do in it, right? And the person who understands the ample of opportunities that you have from doing law, that person actually is on the right track. Don't you think so?
I personally feel that, like for me, law as a profession is the best thing. Like
Mhm.
when you just, when you just recently become a new lawyer, you have a massive amount of opportunities. Like
Right.
you are not limited just to being a lawyer, like to work in a corporate, to
Mhm.
go out there for litigation, but you have other massive opportunities as well that remain unexplored by the students of other colleges. I personally
Right.
feel that
Right.
because NLUs give you a different kind of exposure. Like I have personally met and talked to the last two CGIs, like
Mhm.
UU-LET and BY Chandrachud. I personally talked to them. I had an interaction with them. So these kind of exposure, like we hold other national level conferences, we hold other international level Indic knowledge system conferences. So
Mhm. Mhm.
these kind of exposure, I personally feel is more prevalent in NLUs.
Absolutely. And
So
that pretty, yeah, I'm sorry to cut you. Please
yeah, so,
continue.
so definitely, law as a profession, that too from an NLU would be a great choice and great opportunity for one to get succeed in the career.
Right. And that remains same for every field. Like if I talk about management, so in management you have IIMs. If I talk about engineers, then you have IITs. So similarly for law, you have NLUs. It's always there for every specific field, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Harsh, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your free time?
So what I do in free time is like after I got into NLU, I just got a little bit more of a studious kind of a kid. So I read some legal articles on some law blogging websites, and then I play table tennis. I recently came from a sports fest from RC Annual. So
Nice.
yeah, apart from that, I just listen to songs and other stuff.
Okay. Were you also part of some co-curricular activities during your school?
Well, I was into my school basketball team,
Okay.
and
Nice.
the same as I mentioned, I used to do acting as well in
Okay.
those, and then the same table tennis. I went
Yeah. I can see
CBSE
that
class.
X factor kind of a thing in it, that you can, get into modeling or maybe acting or something. Like you have that factor in you. You can go, and I think you are actually interested also. Are you not?
Uh, I'm definitely interested in, and you know what, that in my NLU, we didn't had a separate, society or, let's say committee for acting. So me and some seniors took an initiative recently. We have, established a parallel society for acting as well.
Yeah, I know an actor aspirant when I see one. Okay, right. So let's talk about your exams now. Because of course the majority of audience that would be watching this show either would be people who are appearing for the law entrances this year or are planning to do so in the future, or maybe are looking for it for their relatives, friends, and so on, right? So what they would want to know from a person like you who has gone through the entire journey, lived each and every moment like that, they would want to know these strategies. They would want to know the tips and tricks that you can tell them from your experience because you've gone through it. So let's talk about that a little bit. So I would want to know what was your basic strategy when you started preparing for the CLAT exam.
When you start preparing for a CLAT exam, most of the things are, people already know about it. But
Mhm,
the code is that when you get to know about the secret things, like you need to know about the tricks for the quant section,
mhm,
you know, other some particular words that are very, necessary in CR critical reasoning.
mhm,
So these particular things, when you just need to focus on, very little bit of things into it, and just give it a like more and more of a practice. What I personally did was I just scatter knowledge about every section, like just let's say the syllabus of every section. There's no fixed syllabus though, but you need to know about it basically.
mhm, mhm.
That's it. For then I used to take practice sheets basically, and I used to practice them more and more. And for GK, as I told that GK has no fixed syllabus. and you just need to grab it more and more and more.
Yeah, we'll talk about each section also separately because my point here is when you are from 12th standard, and in your case, you did not even have legal studies as a subject. That is why I asked you what your subjects were in humanities. So for you, apart from English, every other subject was absolutely alien, whether it is math, or maybe math might be a little bit more familiar, but maybe it is math or legal reasoning or logical reasoning or current affairs, all of these topics, even for the matter English, because 12th may you get literature in English, it's not like proper grammatical questions that you get for it, right? So all of these sections pretty much were alien to you. And that would be the case with majority of the people who are appearing for an entrance after 12th standard, because logical reasoning, English, and quant are the fixed sections that you might get irrespective of what exam you're preparing for, right? So, and also keeping in mind that for a person right after their 12th class, it is their first competitive exam that they're going to apply for, they're going to appear for. So of course, it's a very alien experience. That is why I would want to discuss each and every section with you separately. If you could share your separate strategy for each of the sections in case you had any, or the things that might have helped you make the process easier, right? So let's begin with the quant section, with the math section. How did you cope up with, let's say, the time management part, or the tricks to solve questions quickly? How did you do that?
So I'll begin with telling my attempts in my CLAT. So I attempted 142 out of 150.
Okay.
So which was told to me by my teachers and other, that is a good attempt score me basically.
Mm-hmm.
So for quants, let's go to quants. So if there are three DIs, so what the thing is, if the DI, the data interpretation of maths, like quants, are given to a person, I bet most of them will be able to like solve it. But the only difference where it's gonna come is the time they took for solving it. And
Right.
in CLAT, the whole scenario is that you just need to save time where you can. So I personally feel quant section is a like good section where you can score more in a less time. You just need to practice more and more of data interpretations, so you get to know about short tricks in the quant sections. Because
Mhm.
if you're gonna try solving the DIs with the conventional method that we have learned in school, so gonna be hard for the to go with more attempts in that. So
Mhm.
for quant sections, I just like stick more to the like practice and questions which had tricks and tips basically.
Right. Okay, great. So, did you also have to, like they say, did you also have to learn the tables and the square roots and the cube roots and things like that?
Well, fortunately, I already knew that at the moment.
Nice. So,
As I told that I opted for maths in my last
uh-huh.
year, so I was a bit aware of it.
So, are you amongst those like specially God's favorite people who are like automatically good in math without any extra
Not
effort?
not at
No?
all. Until my class 10, I never scored good. Like
Okay.
maths was the only subject where I used to, I wanted to always hide my marks from my parents. But once I got, well, once you get to know about the, when you come in 12th, 10th basically, so you get a seriousness, like there are board exams. So, you automatically start studying for it. And from that moment only, I got a bit studious.
Like I remember my time when I was in 10th class. Of course, till 10th math is like a permanent subject. It's a compulsory subject that you have. And I used to suck at math. I still suck at math. Okay, and I used to be very petrified before I used to have my math exam. So when I came to 11th class, I took commerce. My stream was commerce, and I did not opt for math. I was like, "Bus ho gaya. I don't want to handle." And higher maths is even difficult, it's much difficult than what you studied in your 10th standard. So I was like, nahi, was. So I actually am very bad at math. Okay, anyway, let's talk about other section now. Let's talk about verbal English. How did you prepare for the English section?
For English, first of all, you need to be very clear with your grammar. Like, so it is like it like it comes very oh, like it's not very often that it comes explicitly in your DIs, the grammar, but definitely it has an implication. like you definitely need it for understanding the passage. And once you understand the passage, you can I personally feel there is no harm in solving a good amount of like passage in English and score good in English basically. So like my personal, like what I used to do was I used to solve more and more passage. Like wherever like I used to, get a passage, I used to like take 5 to 10 minutes for solving it. Like when I was in my initial stage of preparations. After once a while, I got a reading habit developed. So I used to solve every passage is not more than 5 to 6 minutes. So one thing I like to refer, like I was told by some of my friends, and my mentors that always read a newspaper. So when I was, reading a newspaper, sometimes I felt it irrelevant. Sometimes that I'm not getting the desired news for the CLAT purpose. But one thing it helped me through was it developed me, like a reading habit of me was definitely developed. That
Right.
definitely helped me in the English section, I'll say. Like it developed my vocabulary. Like I improved that. Like I'll never deny, like my whole vocab was improved just because of the newspaper. So overall the newspaper is gonna help in developing reading habit and ultimately benefiting your verbal sections.
Yes. I have decoded this part ample of times for the viewers in my previous sessions also. Let me do it once again. So the reason why people or aspirants are asked to read as much content, whether it is fictional or non-fictional, is not to make them familiarized with the language. Because we, any which you are familiar with it, you start reading English or you start studying English from your nursery class and it goes ahead till 10th class. So 10, 11, 12 years are a lot, to study a language. So the reason why somebody would ask you to read content, the reason behind is to, quicken your translation skills. Because English is a second language, it is not a first language. That is why and you can practice it also, you can notice it also. Whenever you're trying to speak in English, the thoughts would come to you in your mind in your first language. It can be Hindi, it can be Punjabi, whatever your mother tongue is, and then you tend to translate it into whatever you want to say. And similarly, it happens when you're reading stuff. So let's say when you're reading a sentence in English, it would be translated in your mind to Hindi, and then you would understand it. So when you're reading a lot of content, when you're reading on a regular basis, you get familiarized with the content very soon. तो आपको ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगता उसको ट्रांसलेट करने में. That is the whole story behind reading as much content as possible. It's not going to be magical for your vocabulary part, so that you'll have to memorize things, you'll have to follow other techniques to do that. But yes, it will help you, first of all, in case you have a PI round, it will help you in your personal interview round. Second, it will help you gather information if you're reading non-fictional part, right? And that will help you for your current GK section. So yeah, that is why reading any which way is very, very important. And I have mentioned this earlier also. If you're somebody who's wanting to pursue a career in law, you must have a reading habit. It is pivotal, right? You cannot dream or think of being a lawyer if you are not very happy reader. I think you would agree with me, right?
Like it's been often seen in higher courts that if your drafting is a little bit with fancy words of English and it's good in grammar, and the judges automatically develop a feeling of favor towards you, and
Right.
develop a feeling of that this person over here knows something. So
Right.
a feel of a knowledgeable man comes to the mind of judge when you show your papers with a good English skills in it. So
Right.
definitely it's gonna be like a major requirement for your career ahead.
Yeah, and any which way, wherever communication is a very important part of your job profile, any which way English speaking is very, very important, right? So in case you have certain clients that you're supposed to interact with, or if you're working as or you're practicing as a corporate lawyer. So in that case, you might be working with an MNC with multilingual people. So there English should play a common role. So spoken English as well as written English, both of them would play a really important role in that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about logical reasoning now. How did you prepare for the logical reasoning part?
So what I did for the logical reasoning was basically I was the kid who used to give all kind of Olympiads in school.
Right.
So I had a little prior knowledge of logical reasoning and critical reasoning. But what
Right.
I used to do was I bought a book from the market for basically exclusively for the practice of the same.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do research on Google and other things. Just I never uh, I was told by some of my seniors, there are some techniques in logical reasoning, there are some other things, but I never, like, being honest, I never focused on them. I just practiced it more and more, and that's how I got good score.
Right. So
But
if you
I
have to
personally
name,
feel is that you need to solve them, and you need to
Mhm.
analyze yourself, that where did you go wrong, and
Mhm.
that's more than enough for cracking the code.
So practice is the key according to you.
Definitely. And
Okay. Yeah.
practice for sure, but analyzing yourself after that, and I have seen many people, solving sheets, giving mocks, but what they don't do is analyze themselves. So analyzing after that would be a,
Right.
must.
Right. So if you have to give me the name of one topic that you loved in logical reasoning, what that topic would be?
Well, I guess broken calendar. That just
Long.
fascinates me.
Okay, and the worst topic, the top topic that you like absolutely disgusted with.
The dice one.
Nice. Okay, I quite frankly personally don't like sitting arrangement. It's very
Yeah,
irritating.
in arrangement, if done with a great knowledge, it gets very vast sometimes. When I started solving sitting arrangement, I used to take 12 to 15 minutes for solving one arrangement. But
Mhm.
then, gradually, as I got to know that it's very important, like most of, like, it's seen that every year at least one DI comes from it. So
Mhm.
definitely I had to, go for it, and prepare for it.
Right, right. Okay, let's talk about legal reasoning now. How did you prepare for the legal reasoning?
For the legal reasoning, I'll say I gathered knowledge of every field, like contract act, like not very vast, but yeah, definitely something that's going to help me through a prior knowledge, requisite knowledge, you can say. So for
Mm-hmm.
contracts, I studied contracts, and for then I also studied family law, and uh, I just gathered some of the legal knowledge, and then I start solving sheets, as I said already.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay, just yeah.
yeah. So the thing is, if you have a prerequisite knowledge in the legal reasoning, you'll definitely have an upper hand on someone who is like you. You both will be reading the passage for the first time. But if you have if you'll have the knowledge of the crux of that passage, like you have already studied that somewhere in your day, so you'll always have an upper hand, and you'll be easily solving that passage.
Okay, let's talk about current affairs now.
I'll
Current
personally
affairs.
tell about my legal reasoning. What I
Yeah.
did was definitely I studied the passage which was there in CLAT, but
Mm,
I applied my prior knowledge to at least 20 questions, I must say.
okay.
And legal was the highest where I scored. I scored 28 point something in legal. So I applied my prior knowledge in that. So I'd say that, like, reading about the legal reasoning would be a great option.
Okay. So we have a question here, and let's take the question up. So we have Pravanya who's asking, what should we opt in 12th? Applied math or core math? From CLAT point of view, what do you think?
Well, I don't think that it makes any difference to the CLAT, basically, because the
Mhm.
marks that comes in your CLAT is like from your sixth grade to your 10th grade, and
Mhm.
like, when you get into 11th and 12th, you get trigonometries and other stuff. You don't really get that into CLAT. So what I personally feel is, like, you can get with the basic maths. In my opinion, in my school it was basic and advanced. So I
Mhm.
opted for basic.
Okay. Does it have any impact on your course? Like when you start with the course with the college, does this choice have any impact on that?
Not at all, ma'am. In law as a profession, you don't. basically they don't really care about your subjects. All they care about your constantly effort that you are making in your initial years of your study. Like when you come here, no one's gonna ask you your 12th grades. No one's gonna ask you how much you scored in class, because obviously you might have scored good. That's why obviously you are here.
Right.
So it's a whole new life basically.
Okay, great. So I think that helps you, Pramanya. Does not really matter what are you opting for. I personally feel opt something that you can score really well in, because that is going to help you. But ahead in a CLAT exam, or for that matter, even for your if you get ahead in a course with LLB, it does not really have an impact. Okay, so let's talk about the current affairs now. How did you prepare for the current and starting both of the GKs?
So for a static part of the GK, there was this book you sent something. So I went through it, and for the current affairs, I used to read newspaper daily, and I used to surf on internet to find some recent articles with legal background, because CLAT is something might give you legal background and general knowledge at the same time. So
Okay.
I found it those, and I studied 360 degree of every major issue that was going on at my point of when I was studying. And the basic thing for the GK is, whenever you think of a topic, like let's say it was at my time it was Sagarmala project. So and there were other 2 3 topics as well. So whenever I just get one thing in my head, that Sagarmala. So what I will do is study, analyze it 360 degree, like who started it, when did he start, why did he start, what are the prospects of it, another thing. Basic thing, you just need to go 360 degree so that you cover everything.
Okay, all right. So there are no specific uh, fields that you should be focusing on. It has to be detail of every particular. I mean, because I quite frankly feel that GK, whether it is current or static, is infinite. You cannot memorize everything in the world. So how do you prioritize that? What is important and what is not?
you know for prioritizing, you just get a feel from inside that this particular topic might just come into an exam. Like let's say for like new education policy, it was prevalent in, like it came in 2020, 1 year 20 also, I guess it came consecutively 2 years. So it was very obvious that I don't think it will come in my year, so I just skipped that part. And then like in my CLAT, there was this one passage on Russia and Ukraine. So this particular thing was, very obvious to come. So I personally feel like how to prioritize. So first, all the topics that are for national importance. Second, all the topics that are for international importance.
Okay.
Third, I'll say that there are various reports that various agencies publish, so that are always linked with the greater cause. Like yeah, like for the climate, there are many reports like various agencies publish. So you need to study those reports and their greater cause.
Okay. All right. Got it. And another approach that can be, let's say that in today's newspaper, we are talking about, or we came to know that, okay, some law or something has come up with, for example, you spoke about the national NEP, national education policy. So if you talk about NEP, so what a person can do is collect every information that you can about a particular topic from the starting point of view, also the current point of view. Also, so you're covering both of these aspects at the same time, right?
Exactly. Like many questions, like how many times like India has changed it, like NEP, like basic questions, like when did it start and who did it and other stuff.
Right, right, right. So in this way, you can balance both of these things, right? Great, great.
What I have
So,
personally, observed, like from last few exams, is that topics having national importance and international importance are, more of, have chances to come in class.
got it, got it. So now that you've appeared, we have talking about all of these sections separately. I would want to know. I know it's not like you've not had a lot of experience, but then you have spent an year at an NLU. So you have come across people around you. So I would want to know, are there any specific character traits that a person should have if he or she wishes to pursue law as a career?
Well, I must say, listen, everything here can be mended. Like you come here as a layman, you'll be mended by the professors over here. You'll be given full support. Like everyone's gonna support you throughout your career. But one thing I would say is the person should not be outspoken. That's
Okay.
gonna harm you there. Like the professors sometimes get irritated by it. Sometimes they take an offense. Sometimes there's no big deal in it. They are very helpful. Like they helped me through various things. Like when I came here, I wanted to publish my some of my blogs. So they constantly help me after my college hours as well. I don't think like a person should has inbuilt such kind of traits to get into an NLU. All you need is some skills, the basic skills which every
Right.
student might.
There are no special skills that are required, right?
It's a it's a very myth kind of a thing that it's an NLU. NLU has different things. Definitely NLU has better exposure. Definitely academically and other with other co-curriculars, it's better than many colleges. But at the end of the day, it's a normal college.
Right, 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 right. Okay, so if I talk about the five sections that we have just talked about in the CLAT exam, which section was your favorite and which section was your least favorite?
Well, I'll say GK was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I was, very fond of it. It's just that I couldn't never, stop myself of reading GK. It was that,
Okay.
if I would have studied, let's say if I studied 100 hours for my CLAT, let's like hypothetically speaking, so I would
Mm-hmm.
have studied 70 hours for my GK.
Mm-hmm.
I gave my most of the time to GK, and the worst subject I'd say was quants. I always lag for it, like lag in time. I was not good at grabbing the exact trip which I like, used to had to apply basically. That
Mm-hmm.
somehow used to waste my time. So
Mm-hmm.
what I did was the sections which I was perfect at, not perfect, I was good at. So
Mm-hmm.
always used to try to finish them before. And if I get stuck in any of those sections, I used to just skip the whole section for a while and skip to the another one and then get back to that later when you have just left with the time.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Now tell me, first of all, tell me, is there any sectional timing in the CLAT exam?
Sorry, what?
Is there any sectional timing in the CLAT exam?
Well, it's not as such prescribed by them, or there are no limits set by them. But it's
Okay.
just it should be a part of your personal strategy that
Got it.
you should not give more than a particular time to a section for for better number of attempts.
Got it. Got it. So time management, it should be your mental कि इस section पे इतना time लगाना है, इस section पे इतना time लगाना है, and so on. And
Exactly.
that can vary from person to person. Like some people might take longer period of time for quant and lesser period of time for English. So it varies from person to person, right?
Right, definitely.
Okay. Now tell me, Ansh, how did you cope up with the negative marking? Because we know that CLAT exam has the negative marking. It is the only exam that is in the pen and paper mode, not in the CBT mode, right?
Right.
I think the only paper in today's time, which is in the, like even the COVID times, it took place in the pen and paper mode. Can you believe it? It was not scheduled to the CBT mode. So, how did you cope up with the negative marking?
Well, with the negative marking, I must say that I just used to attempt the questions which I was quite sure of.
Mhm.
I never like A, B, C, D. I never did that. Like just anything. So for and particularly for GK, you get a
Mhm.
amount of GK questions, and GK is something where you are not supposed to guess the answer. If you know it,
Mhm.
you know it. You don't know it, you have to skip. That's it.
Right,
So,
right.
and the same thing I did it in my other sections as well. Like
Mhm.
question, I kind of knew it that it's gonna be the right answer. I just attempted those questions, and the 8 questions which I'm mentioning that I skipped out of 150 were the questions which I was unaware of.
Mhm.
So
Got it.
That's it.
All right, all right. So now I would want to talk about mocks. Okay, I mention it every time. I mention it repeated times in all of my sessions, all of my Big Bull Ki Pathshala sessions, that mocks are very, very important for you to qualify any entrance exam, whether it is in the field of law or it is management or it is CUET, and mocks are very, very important, right? And I have seen it's a very common problem amongst people that they tend to appear for mocks a week or 2 weeks prior to the exam, which I feel is a very wrong approach, right? So, what are your views about appearing for mocks and more importantly, mock analysis?
For mocks, I must say that, as I said earlier as well, practice is the key. So,
Mm-hmm.
what mocks is like basically that's a basic practice only, but
Mm-hmm.
that gives you a proper score and you get a vibe of an exam. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but if you ask me about my, the only regret in the CLAT preparation, I must say that I didn't prepare for, like, I didn't appear for much of my mocks. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be my only regret. If I would have scored even better as well. So
Right.
for mocks, I'm gonna say that it's very important. First of all, like, you definitely need to appear. Like, even if you don't know about much of the GK section, or let's say much of the things you don't know, just appear for it at least.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it. So and definitely more like, if you are giving a mock, definitely you just you don't have to sleep and write mocks and other things. You need to be in a proper surrounding where you feel like you're giving an exam. So that's gonna help you in the CLAT exam, so you get the that you are already aware of this kind of feel while giving mocks earlier.
Right, right, right. Got it. So if I put it in a much simpler manner, the basic advantages of appearing for mock, first of all, it familiarizes you with the exam pattern. You get a better idea of the syllabus. You get to know कि अच्छा ये topic है which is repeating in each and every mock. So you know कि अच्छा ठीक है ये important, and this is the topic which is rarely appearing in any of the mocks. So I might as well skip it or may not pay that much of an attention to this particular part, right? Secondly, of course, it makes you prepared for the D-Day, especially this CLAT exam. It is, like I said, it is a pen and paper mode. You're supposed to do it um, on a sheet, right? OMR sheet. So again, it gives you the practice of the D-Day. You are able to see if you're able to manage time very efficiently or not, if you're taking a mock, if you're doing it in the right manner, right? And then of course, it helps you, most importantly, helps you analyze your strengths and weaknesses. It lets you know what topic are you currently and continuously making a mistake in, and what topic are you like smooth and you're doing really well in. So that understanding, and that in turn is going to help you with the negative marking aspect, because you know कि अच्छा ठीक है ये topic बार बार गलत हो रहा था, so I might not attempt this question only to be on the safer side, like you said, right? So all of these are the major reasons why one should appear for mocks and why mocks are
No,
that
ma'am,
important.
marks are definitely important for one more thing, that is your OMR sheet. I have seen many people committing mistakes even in my actual CLAT exam. So
Mm-hmm.
that could have been avoided with the much practice of mocks basically. So
Right.
if anyone is like giving at least 50 to 60 mocks during his prep time, so I don't think he'll make a mistake for filling an OMR at least.
Right, right, right. Okay. So Ansh, does CLAT have a PI round, personal interview round, or no?
Not at all, ma'am. Uh,
No.
it's just glad you get your scores. You just need to take part in counseling, and that's it. You're set for going to college. If you get
Great,
in.
great, great. Okay. So Ansh, now that you have made your way to NLU Nagpur in Maharashtra, so how is your life now? Are you living on campus?
Yeah, I stay at campus only. I stay in hostel.
Okay. So how's life? Describe a day
Well,
in the life of an NLU Nagpur student.
well, the sky over here is really good, I must say.
Okay.
Okay, and the weather is sort of good, I must say. I come
Mm-hmm.
from north, so I don't have very issues with the extreme kind of weathers. So
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in those kind of weathers, and then let's say the college life here is very good, and
Mm-hmm.
an academic push over here is also there to the students. And yeah, that's it. Life.
Okay, so yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, about the infrastructure, I must say, like here, so it's more of at a developing stage right now, NLU Nagpur. So it has built its boys hostel, girls hostel, admin block, and then we go for academic block. So there are many buildings and blocks and other kind of plans they have in their phase upcoming phase. So the infrastructure is still developing, but by the time we are going to be out of it, so it might get over.
Okay. So, right. So, what was the family's reaction, Ansh, when they came to that? Okay, finally made it to NLU Nagpur. Were they happy, excited, believed it, not believed it? What was the reaction?
you know uh, Actually, I was more shocked by my family, by my result. When I came back from the, like, after taking the CLAT exam, so I was like, I have to now fill for the droppers, like like I must get enrolled in somewhere in my for the droppers batch or something like that. But when I got the result, I was more shocked by my, like, instead of my family basically. Obviously they were very happy, like, to
Of
get
course.
it is not like a thing to be done like by everyone. So
Right, right. So, were your family always supportive of you for pursuing a
definitely,
career in law?
definitely, they used to support me. What the thing is, like, I used to study at night basically. I used to go to school, then I had to go to gym in the evening. Like, most of my studies I did was like during 12 to 3 a.m. in the, like, basically at the night.
Mm-hmm.
I used to always have food by my side, get like ready at that point of time. Like,
Right.
so that definitely my family supported me in other ways as well, like mentally and things as well. Definitely.
Right, right, right. Because family support is very, very important, right? It like strengthens you, it pushes you. Okay, हाँ, ठीक है. They're there with you. It's very, very important, right? Okay, so Ansh, what are your long-term plans now? Let's say 3, 4 years from now, what are you seeing yourself doing?
Well, let's say 3 to 4 years from now, I'd like to be a legal researcher for now. What I have observed in this college is that there's a very good scope if you write well. So I'm currently working on it, on my personal skills of writing blogs and research papers basically. So if a person knows how to write, so he gets a very good gratitude and respect in the relevant places, like very where various big firms, you get good kind of internships and other things. So for now, like, if you say 3 to 4 years, I'll say legal researcher.
Great, great. And I hope you make it to it. We're almost towards the end of the session. So, any last parting words, Ansh, that you would want to tell or you would want to give any recommendations, feedback to all the law aspirants out there who are waiting to begin their career in the legal field after their 12th class or maybe next year, anything that you'd want to tell them?
Well, definitely, I'd say that it's not a tough exam, basically. When I started this exam, preparation for this exam, I started in my class 11th actually. So I
Okay.
thought that it will take me 2 years to get to that point of time where, I'll get a good rank and score in CLAT. But later, when I came in 12th and I got into this preparation, I got to know that it's not a very, tough exam. All you need to do is just practice for it. That's it. And all you need to do is that just be aware of the recent development, and like normal, if a person has a normal day-to-day routine of that, I don't think personally that he have to put way more efforts than any other person to to crack this exam. All you just go for it. It's not a very difficult exam. All you need to just be aware of things like relevant to CLAT. That's it.
Basically, be optimistic, don't be stressed, and
Exactly.
enjoy the process, right?
Definitely.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Ansh, for taking out time to be with us today to inspire all the aspirants out there, answering all the questions, right? And I hope you had an equal amount of fun as much as I had talking to you, right? And I hope to collaborate ahead in future with you. All the best for your future, and thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. And you all aspirants out there, thank you so much for attending the session. If you've not yet watched it as of now, do watch it later. Share it with your friends if you found this session to be informative in any way. Fill in the forms that I've mentioned in the beginning of the session, right? Meet the deadlines, check the deadlines, keep a check on it, right? And in case you have any questions, any queries, about what we have discussed in our today's class, feel free to post it in the comment section. I'll be proactive in reverting back to you as soon as I can, right? And if you really liked the session, please press the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel for the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you so much. Happy weekend. Bye bye.